Hey Siri.
Hello and welcome to the Unholy Mole. I've got a Godless Engineer, or as I like to call him, the Godless Father of the Skeptic Mafia. um, uh,
Yeah, I definitely am the godless father of the skeptic mafia. You got to pay homage to me.
We need to kiss his ring. I've interviewed you before, John, but it was a while ago. I'm going to call you GE for the interview. Just so
That's
people
fine.
don't get confused. I don't know, I mean, some people know your real name, some people don't. But how for the people that never heard the old interview, what you were raised religious, correct?
Oh, very religious. Well, I mean, I didn't really believe like wholeheartedly in it. It was always kind of like just, oh, this is an immutable fact about reality, and I accept that. So I was never taught any different. Like it's just God exists. Oh, okay, God exists. Kind of thing.
Right. And so what was the first thing? What was the first thing you think that started making you think differently?
Well, the first thing I would say is probably one of my friends actually after a church softball game, he told me that if you don't believe in the Bible completely and wholly, then you're not a real Christian. And so like there was already a lot of things I had problems with in the Bible, like there's the Noah thing and all
Yeah.
that other shit. I didn't believe in those things, so I was like, well, I guess I'm not a real Christian. I mean, that kind of sold it for me. Although that is not a Pascal, sorry, that's a no true
No, true
Scotsman.
Scotsman. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I know that, but back then I was like, well, I guess I'm not a real Christian. And so I had to really figure out like where I stood, like with faith and God and all that kind of stuff. Like, I went through a time where I was like, well, there probably is a God that exists. And then, I looked more into it and I started to formulate some of my own ideas about it. And that's when I finally decided like, well, I'm an atheist. And then it was just kind of like the train engine turned on and I just went full force forward with it.
So you kind of went from theist to deist to atheist then?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, I really didn't investigate like Islam or Judaism or Hinduism or anything like that because I don't know if it's just my upbringing, but like they seem ridiculous, just as ridiculous as Christianity, which I mean they are. So I mean, I guess I really didn't need to investigate them. So I had to figure it out, and eventually, I reasoned my way there using science and just rationality.
Right. Did you watch Dark Matter 2525's latest video, The Greater Insult?
I started watching it, but then I had to do something at work, so I had to I had to leave it, and I haven't been back to it yet.
Oh, it's a beautiful video, dude. If you get a chance to watch it, I mean, it literally brought tears to my eyes. I mean, I know it sounds silly, but it was a beautiful video. That guy is he's just got a way of explaining himself that's so. I mean, I don't know. I love Dark Matter 2525. I always have.
I think his power lies in the baldness of his head. It really
Yeah,
does.
he's our token bald man, isn't he?
Yeah.
In this community. Now, you're a mythicist. How did you become a mythicist?
Oh, interesting question. Okay, so I started out like with my I guess atheist activism on Facebook. I would be in Facebook groups, and I would be talking about these different things, and so it came up like how we know that Jesus actually existed. And I don't remember who posed it to me or anything like that, but somebody questioned me on it, and I'm like, well, of course Jesus existed in history. But then I started looking into it, and it was very flimsy kind of evidence because, like, even if you look at some of the big apologetics now, like they have really flimsy criteria for thinking that Jesus existed. Like, for instance, there's this criteria of it's like language or something. Basically, if we have something in the Bible that was translated from Aramaic, that means that Jesus directly spoke those words, establishing his historicity. But you see, the problem with that is that it doesn't exclude other people that spoke Aramaic that could make shit up.
Right.
And so a lot of times people will, at least the last conversation I had, he was like, no, it doesn't mean that Jesus was the only one speaking Aramaic. And I'm like, well, then how do you exactly tie that directly to Jesus? It's very flimsy argumentation, like on the historicist side. And I found myself convinced by the mythicist side, and the more I looked into it, the more it seemed like Jesus was a mythical figure, because we don't have any evidence for his existence in the first century. I think the earliest account that we have is Paul, and he specifically states that he only saw Jesus in a vision, and that he didn't get his information from anybody on earth. And Paul also never states anything about his earthly ministry or anything like that. It's always visions and scriptures. So, I mean, that coupled with the fact that pre-Christian Jews were interpreting like Isaiah 53 as a messianic prophecy. And they were doing that with a lot of things. And a lot of people are like, well, no, there's no evidence of that. And I would say that there's no evidence that says they weren't thinking that. But there is some evidence that some Jews were thinking that it was messianic. Not exactly what was messianic in it, but like the Isaiah scroll that was found at the Nag Hammadi Library, the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah.
It does have verbiage in there that seems to indicate that they were interpreting it as a person and not like Israel, or like a metaphorical reference to Israel. Right. So, I mean, it is very possible that we had like a lot of different ideas about what the Messiah was. And so like the historicist can't say, oh, they weren't thinking this. Like nobody was thinking this. Like you can't know that, but we do have reasonable evidence to suggest that that at least some Jews were thinking of a messianic prophecy in like Isaiah 53.
Right. And could you explain to everybody that doesn't know what a mythicist is, what exactly is a mythicist?
Okay. Yeah. So a mythicist is somebody that doesn't think that Jesus existed in history. They believe that he is purely a myth, and he was created by Jews or Jewish Christians in the first century. And there's a lot of evidence to support the idea, enough evidence to say that it's reasonable to not believe that he was like a historical figure. There's a lot of evidence that we don't have, and there's a lot of evidence that speaks to the contrary of Jesus actually existing in history. Right,
exactly. What got me, like, I never knew I was mythicist until I watched a few of Rick's like lectures, I guess you could call them. And the more I found out, like how, like, I think it is a mark that's almost like it's almost like Jesus symbolism for the temple. It was that mark.
Well, yeah. Actually, John Dominic Crossan has a great book called The Power of Parable, where he evaluates the Gospels and shows how they're all just big parables that are meant to teach something. Like every single moment in Mark is a teachable moment. And so it's definitely there's no way to connect it to like an earlier source or anything like that. But even then, if you could connect Mark to an early source like Q or something, you wouldn't be able to say, well, this is the first source that actually attests to Jesus. Like we don't have it. There's no way for us to know what stuff it cited or if it was a firsthand account. So given that we can't know those kind of things about it, you just have Mark that is a big mega parable that's used to teach people about this new religion called Christianity.
Right. what do you think of, like, you know how Christians, Jews, and Muslims all like to think that their God isn't the same God? What do you think of, or where do you think they get the cognitive dissonance for that? I mean, what makes them think that their God isn't the same God? Or why do you think they want? I think it's mostly Christians, because I think Muslims and Jews are pretty okay with the fact that, you know, they all came from the Abrahamic religion. But why do you
Mhm.
think Christians deny that so much?
Well, because Christians Christians they have to have a special God that is, you know, all of the attributes of the New Testament. And so they see their God as wholly different than like Muhammad's God. And I really don't understand why they would think that their God's different from the Judaism's God, because I
Mm-hmm.
mean it is legit the same God, but I guess maybe they felt like, you know, they don't have the whole picture of God, or you know, they reject God, I guess, because of how the Old Testament's set up. I mean, I know you've been listening to the Daily Bible podcast, but God in the Old Testament really shit on the Jews.
Yeah, he was horrible. He was a jealous, vindictive, just asshole, plain and simple. Like, I asked this question of some people earlier. Like, they're like, I asked, if you found out God was real, what would you do? And or someone asked me that originally, and I said I would do nothing different. I wouldn't worship him. He's a fucking sadistic asshole, you know, and I would tell him as much, you know. So I mean,
Yeah.
nothing would change. Nothing at all in my mind would change, because he's never. I mean, if you know, who was it that said? I can't. Was it Epicurus that said there's something about, if God is powerful enough to do something and he doesn't do it, then he doesn't care, or
Yeah.
he's not powerful enough to do anything and he's not a real God anyway. Was that Epicurus that said that
I think
originally?
I think so.
I think I can't remember. I'm a little rusty on my philosophy, but yeah. I mean, that it just doesn't make any. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, I don't. I tried to. My girlfriend finally asked me the other day. She said, she's a Christian. She said, "What exactly do you talk about on your channel?" And she said, "Do you bash Christians?" I said, "No, not at all." I said, as a matter of fact, I said, most of us just we take apart their ideas. We don't bash anybody as a person, unless it's someone like SJ that starts at first. You know, I mean, she's really hard. You know, she's really hard not to. You know, I mean, but she brings it on herself. You know, I mean, but as a rule, I don't bash anybody. I don't like bad ideas. You know, I mean, I think they need to be stopped. Just like
Well,
oh, go ahead.
well, I mean, I was just gonna say that, you know, a lot of Christians, they'll take, you know, I guess bashing religion, which there's nothing wrong with bashing religion, because religion is just an idea. You shouldn't bash like the person. But a lot of Christians have a very personal connection to their religion. And so when you start insulting God or insulting their religion, then they take that very personally, because, you know, in Christianity, it teaches about this whole personal God aspect.
Mhm.
Like, that's personally their God. Their God is personally watching out for them every single day. And so they take it very personally, even though it's not a personal thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right, I know exactly what you're saying. You know that I'm a recovered addict, and I was in 12-step programs, and I get a kick out of, like, I'll be at a meeting and I'm like, they'll be like, oh, and I got to thank God because he woke me up this morning. I'm like, yeah, you and 7.5 billion other fucking people, and
Well,
and then they're like, I get on my knees every morning and pray, you know, and that's what keeps me sober. I'm like, what, is your God's magic wear off after 24 hours? It's like you got to
no, I
redo
would.
the spell every 24 hours, or what?
I would go a different direction. Like, oh, does the salvation come out of the tip of his dick? Is that where it is? That, I mean, you get on your knees every day and pray. But
Jesus come.
Yeah. I don't like the whole idea of them being like, "Oh, thank God he woke me up today," or whatever, because I mean they don't really think about how that statement actually translates to the world on the whole,
Yeah,
because then you have people that like don't wake up in the morning and they
right,
die in their sleep. And
exactly.
so it's like, "Oh, thank God woke me up today." You know, it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess he slipped up and forgot Phil down the fucking street because he
Right.
died in his sleep.
Yeah, Phil wasn't worth a fuck. I get a kick out of like when people pray before meals. Like, so yeah, God brought us this wonderful bounty, but in Ethiopia, there's a fucking kid eating a bowl of dirt with worms in it. So
Yeah.
I mean, so how does God pick and choose who gets what? I mean, like people, I don't understand how they can get around that in their own minds. Like, do they feel superior in some way? I mean, just because of where you're born at, that makes no sense to me. I mean, and a lot of people won't admit that they would that if they were born in, say, northern Africa, they would more likely be a Muslim than a Christian. Or if
Mhm.
they were born in, the Far East, they might be a Shinto or a Buddhist. Or I mean, it all depends on where you're born and what you're brought up as, in my opinion, anyway. I mean, yes, it can change, but
Well, yeah, they really don't consider that aspect of it, and I don't think that they consider it because it's all about that, that personal connection to God, or maybe not a personal connection, but just their own personal feelings about their faith, because they don't want to be wrong, and they feel it in their heart that they're not, because they believe in this God. And so they don't consider the fact that if they were born elsewhere in the world, they would more than likely be a different religion. And they don't consider that fact. And oftentimes they'll just completely dismiss it as like, "Oh no, I wouldn't. I would still be called back to Jesus."
could you? I didn't plan on asking this one, but could you tell everybody about your Facebook group and how they can join that if they're interested?
Oh yeah, definitely. So I have a Facebook group. I think that we still have around about 10,000 members in it, but there's not 10,000 active people in it. You know how these things work.
Yeah,
So you can just go on Facebook and type in Godless Engineering, and you'll be able to find it. It should
yeah.
pop up pretty quick.
It's
It
very easy to
has Yeah, I mean, and I mean, it has the banner that's on Facebook and everything like that. If you go to the Facebook page, it's got a link on the page right there to get to the group, and it's just Godless Engineering.
Right. I just thought that gives you a little bit more GE. He does stuff on there, and then he transfers it over to YouTube. Isn't that usually how you do it? Don't you have like
Well,
a weekly stream on there you do every like Friday, or is it Friday? Friday
no,
nights you
no,
do it?
well, Mondays. I
Mondays.
do a live stream on the Facebook page on Mondays, and we um we do it there so that we can produce content for the channel, and that's how I have so much content that I can just edit up. It's fine, honey. She got a new iPad today.
Oh yeah. Cool. Welcome, Blue Marble, to my channel. I've never seen you before. Um, thank you for coming. Um, And now, I guess my next question would be, what drives you to be a crusader against religion, for lack of a better word? I mean, I don't want to use a religious word, but I mean,
Right.
what fires you to fight against bad ideas in religion?
Well, I really pay attention to like news and atheist news outlets. I guess you could say like Pathos with the Friendly Atheist and some
Mm,
other blogs on there, as well as just normal news. I keep an eye out, and I mean, I just see so many people that are using religion in order to do horrible things, and I think that religion does for like on an individual scale, religion can be okay for an individual. I mean, obviously, people have operated with religion for a long time, and it, on a personal level, it hasn't affected them really all that much at all. But it's when they try to, affect other people and try to push things through government and try and basically like attack people that believe differently than them. It's at that point that I really can't stand for it. Otherwise, I really don't care what people believe, as long as it doesn't hurt another person or it doesn't like cause a net negative on society. And I also am very much against anti-science, which religion is anti-science at its core. It's
Yeah,
anti.
very much so.
And
Oh, go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say, and what personally drives me is the fact that people are pushing this bad information on news stations, on social media, and just bad information all around. And so whenever I see that, I feel compelled to correct them. And if I don't know the answer, I feel compelled to look up the answer so that I can inform them, because a lot of people are only going to read headlines and they're not going to think deeper. And I know this because I was that person for a long time. I never thought deeper about the question of God. I just never considered it.
Right.
But now I feel like atheism versus like religion in general is a very big conversation in the world. And because wherever you go, you have that kind of conflict between secularism and this religious kind of mindset. And I think that in order for us to progress as a society and to progress in general, we have to combat those bad ideas, and we can't let up. Like I know that it wears out on some people, but you have to have the stamina to continue to refute bad information whenever it comes up.
Indeed. My next question was just going to be, how do you and KC find the energy to? I mean, you guys are almost tireless in your fight against bad ideas, and I think the whole community should thank you for you guys are almost tireless. That's so awesome. I love how you guys met, and it's like that's a perfect love story if you ask me. But I mean, it's just so cool. I mean, but where do you guys find the energy to, I mean, to stay so active? I mean, I mean, you guys are. I mean, you guys you have a lot of irons in the fire, so to speak.
Yeah. Casey was saying monsters and coffee.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a coffee and a monster junkie myself, Casey, so I get that.
Yeah. We're really driven, by being in this community and providing sort of a community for people to question, to offer friendship and community with other atheists. And we just want to show other people that when you leave religion, it's not like you're alone at all. You have a community here that is friendly and more than accepting, and we really want to push that, and we want to be a strong voice for the secular and atheist crowd.
Right. And I think like what did they say? What's the percentage of atheists in America? It's like 3.8% or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's between 3. I think it's between 3 and 8%, depending on if you count the nuns category.
Right. And I'm even smaller than that. Like someone that's been an atheist their whole life that wasn't really ever raised religious. That's like a very, very small percentage. I think
yeah,
2% or something like that.
Yeah, that's an incredibly small minority. But of course, Christians always like to think that atheists just always were atheists, and they never believed in God. They always want to say that.
Right. Now I think like I was talking, I can't remember who I was talking to this about the other day, but I think atheism has been around as long as people have been around. I'm sure there's always been unbelievers. What do you think about that?
Oh, well, I mean, definitely. I mean, this is like another instance that it kind of intersects with mythicism, because the argument's been levied that, oh, there were no mythicists at this time, when referencing, I believe it's 2 Peter in the Bible, because 2 Peter is a fabricated account, firsthand account of Jesus, and it's because they were encountering people that didn't believe Jesus existed, and so they just invented this firsthand account. And I believe that atheism is very similar to that situation, because you don't have to necessarily match exactly like what is an atheist today.
Right.
Another thing is that apologists will like to levy like Stalin, Pow, and Pol Pot and Mao. They like to levy those people as atheists against us, as to do some kind of genetic fallacy to say that,
Right.
oh, atheists are just horrible because of these guys.
Right.
And what they implemented was like state atheism. And even though I would consider them atheists if they didn't believe in a god, but also state atheism is very different than what atheism actually is.
Right.
And so I think that atheists in some form or another have always existed, because like you said, I mean, there's always been people call bullshit on another person's beliefs.
Right. We were talking. I was talking the other day. Also, this a thing we were talking about. And do you think anybody's ever actually been killed in the name of atheism? You know, like how like people have been killed in the name of God for centuries and centuries. I mean, literally, do you think anybody's ever actually been killed because of actual atheism? I don't believe so.
Well, I I don't know. I can't think of any instances off the top of my head. But what I will say is that if somebody killed somebody else for the religious affiliation, which, I mean, in the past that's been primarily other religious people killing people of a different religion. Um, but if an atheist were to kill somebody just because they were a Christian, most likely they would have like some kind of mental illness associated with that, like psychopathy or sociopathy or
Right.
something like that. So
Right.
it I don't think that it would necessarily be like in the name of atheism or anything like that, but I can see how some religious people would paint it that way, even though it's a very nuanced situation. Because I know there was that kid who attacked the church over in Texas, and he killed a bunch of people in there. Because I think he was part of a lot of different like atheist groups or something like that. People were painting him as an atheist, but you see, that's a pretty good example of how they'll try to paint it as like an atheist related incident, but in actuality it's just this person didn't believe in God and he was crazy as fuck at the same time. And it can be that like that situation is more plausible than somebody going in, God doesn't exist.
Right. It doesn't make sense, does it?
Yeah.
So what's your overall goal in your tireless fight against bad ideas? Is that it? Just getting rid of bad ideas, or maybe
Well,
making people think?
yeah. Well, it's to get people to think, and it's also so that the way that I like to paint this is that religion is a fog, because it really messes with your mind and
Mm,
how you think and reason things. And what I envision myself as being is the lighthouse in the middle of the fog. And if you don't have that lighthouse going, then there's no way people can be let out of the fog and not crash on the banks or whatnot. So I always strive to be that light in the fog, so that whenever somebody is looking, they can find the answers that they want to be, that they want, or not necessarily want, but that they are looking for. And so I guess I just keep that in mind, that you know I always have to combat these bad ideas, because there is always a chance of somebody that's in the crowd that is looking for the real answers, that's looking for that light. And if I can be that light for somebody, then even one person, then it's more than worth it. And I mean, I've had a few people like message the page on Facebook and tell me that I really helped them, like either come out of religion or be okay with not being religious. And it's just, I've even helped some atheists like come around and see why I'm more firebrand. I've been able to point out to them all these horrible things that religion does, and they've actually messaged me back on the page and been like, "Look, I was really harsh against you last year. I've seen the light."
What do you think of like atheism plus trying to make it exclusive instead of being inclusive?
Yeah, I see. I really don't like that. I don't
I
like.
don't either.
Yeah, I don't like purity tests like at all, and I feel like that's what, well, atheism plus or normalized atheism, whichever. I mean, they're basically kind of the same group of people. They want to place these kind of purity tests on the atheist movement, and one of the best things I feel about the atheist movement is that you're not constrained by religion, or the fact that you have to be a liberal or you have to be conservative, or you have to think this way or that way. I mean, that's totally antithetical to like free thought. But a lot of people associate free thought with free thought as long as you think these things that we also think, and that's just not how it works.
Right. Like, I mean, we're supposed to have separation of church and state. Do you think that they're way more intertwined than our forefathers intended?
I think kind of, maybe, because the founding fathers set up a pretty good government that was meant to keep church out of religion. But as we all know, religion always tries to encroach into government. And I think the reason why that is because religion, at least Christianity, which is what the majority of people were at the time, Christianity is very personal, and so a lot of politicians take that belief and take it into government, and so they use it. And it's not necessarily that I think that that's wrong, but oftentimes religion foregoes reality for its own beliefs. So, like for instance, with like a gay conversion therapy, I mean, a lot of people think that it's wrong to be gay, and it's wrong and it's sinful and all this other stuff. And so they use like that's because of religion that they think that, and they use that and push it through the government, and they try to get it pushed through the government.
Right.
And I think that is the thing that the forefathers didn't really count on, is the inability of people to separate their beliefs from governing bodies. And they did a really good job in the Constitution of trying to keep it separate, but we've had to implement things that sort of tack onto it, like with the First Amendment, which was written at the time, but it's not part of the core Constitution. It's the First Amendment to the Constitution, where the freedom of religion. But then also later on, we've got the Civil Rights Act, where it says that you can't discriminate based on religion, sex, and all that other kind of stuff. Right. So I think that they didn't know what to expect in the future. And so they allowed the government to be amendable and be a living document, and a living government, as it were. And so I think that they didn't know what to expect, but they did plan for that.
So what do you think would happen if we say within the next 10 years we did eradicate religion, what do you think would happen in the world? I mean, at first, what do you think the initial reaction would be? Do you think there'd be chaos and war? Or do you think,
Over
I mean,
what?
like,
Sorry.
just say religion was eradicated, right?
Yeah.
There was no more religion. What do you think would happen in the world? Do you think we would be a more peaceful planet, or do you think there would be chaos at first and then it would calm down? How do you think how do you think people would react?
Well, I think like if I could if I could pull a Thanos and just snap my fingers and all religion was gone, I think that there would be a lot of chaos, because if you think about how people think about religion now,
Mm-hmm.
I think that a good portion of the world would just go crazy because they wouldn't know what to do. Because to them, you need God in order to be moral and to function every day, and all this other stuff. So I mean, if you just snapped your fingers and made it all go away, then I think that a lot of people wouldn't know what in the some people, I don't think they'd remember to breathe.
Yeah, I
uh,
believe it would take a few generations, don't you? Before,
yeah,
you know.
in a more realistic sense, I think that a secular society devoid of religion would definitely turn out to be a much more progressive, peaceful, and advanced kind of civilization. I think that people would be safe for the most part. I think that we would be able to, explore the universe, because I mean, exploring the universe is going to take, a united front for that, and there's no way that we would be able to do that now. And so I think that a secular society devoid of religion would be like the best possible future for us.
Now, I don't like to think of Christians as stupid. I think they're willfully ignorant and they've been indoctrinated. How do you feel? I mean, you don't feel Christians are stupid people, do you?
Well, I think people can be stupid in
Yes,
general,
of course.
yeah, and so, but just knowing that somebody's a Christian, I don't automatically assume that they're stupid or say that they're stupid or anything like that. I do let them know that they are wrong about things. And whenever it comes out, like for instance, when I'm at work, I don't just go around to somebody and it's like, "Hey, yo, Bill, God doesn't exist, right?" And I don't do that. But if it comes up in a conversation or something like that, I point out. I try to be as polite as I can, and I point out how they're wrong or how that doesn't make sense. And a lot of times they'll respond hostilely, but you see, I wait for them to demonstrate to me that they are stupid or anything like that. And I mean, atheists can be stupid too. There's a lot of atheists out there that really look down on me for being a mythicist, and they compare me to being a creationist and a conspiracy theorist and all this other shit. And I, you know, I guess to answer your question, people can be stupid, but not just because like they're religious or anything like that.
Right. Like someone asked me the other day, they said, how would you feel if a trans person were to come in and go to the bathroom with you? And I'm like, well, I wouldn't feel anything. I would feel they were going to take a piss. I mean, what am I supposed to feel about that? Like I've never had a gay person or a trans person or anything like that try to convert me, but I have had many Christians try to convert me. So who's really the bad guy? I mean, what you choose is your sexuality is your business. I mean,
Yeah.
I hate when they equate that with, with that being bad. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Well, I find it funny because if you think about any restroom experience that you've had, you generally try to keep to yourself when you're in the restroom.
Right. You're
But
not in there
then
to make friends.
right. It's not like you are at a line of urinals and you go and stand next to the one guy that's there and you start having a conversation with them and whatnot. But as soon as you throw in some kind of thing that they don't like, whether it's any personal reason or just religion or anything, all of a sudden they are so fucking concerned with what happens in the bathroom, and they are so concerned with who walks into the bathroom. Now, in general, like, you know, if I would be concerned if I saw like a 40-year-old guy walking into the women's bathroom, right? But that's not the conversation that's being had around the like trans rights as far as bathroom usage goes. Like that, Christians and other people love to paint that conversation as like some kind of 40-year-old guy in a wig walking into the women's restroom looking up little girl skirts. But I mean, that's exactly not what the conversation is.
Okay. Now, now, how do you find or decide on what videos you're going to do?
Usually I just search on YouTube for like atheism or atheist, or sometimes flat earth. Like if I'm really needing like a new flat earther to go at or something, I'll type in flat earth. But you see, the problem with it is that with the religious and flat earthers in general, you have like them with really, really long like videos, like 2-3 hours or whatever. And so it's really hard to find those videos that are on just one targeted subject. And so I tried to look for videos that are right around 10 minutes long. If I can get them less than 10 minutes, that's better, but right around 10 minutes long. And I try to look at it and see if there's any actual points that are being made, or if it's just insane rambling, anything that I can add to it. And a lot of the times I find that, you know, they're saying something wrong, and I can give my 2 cents on it. If I've covered a particular subject a lot, then I'll switch to a different subject. Like I'll go from atheism to evolution, or evolution to flat earth, or chemtrails, or whatever. I try to keep a good mix.
Right. I actually met some flat earthers not too long ago that were actually very intelligent people, and I could actually talk to them. I was very, very surprised. The guy's name was Ethan, and he seemed like a really, really, you know, a decent dude, you know. Do you think, I want to ask this because I think he's a Poe. Do you think Delano is a real flat earther, or do you think he's a Poe?
Oh man, you know, I haven't seen like any evidence directly that suggests that he's a Poe. You know, I have seen, or I have been told after the fact, that I have covered like at least one Poe that doesn't actually believe in the flat earth, but he's just being satirical about it. That's the one Max guy. I think I did a couple videos on him. He's a Poe. But until like I get direct confirmation, I generally try to not just speculate, oh, he's got to be a Poe. Like on the video that I posted today, you know, a lot of people were like, there's no way that this guy exists. And I'm like, I've got him on video.
Yeah, that guy was like, he was too much. I'm like, I bet like in that 30-minute video, I bet he said fuck like 150, 200 times. I mean, like it was crazy.
Well, no, actually, that wasn't fuck.
Oh, he was just. I don't know what but he was just, that guy was off the wall, dude. He was totally off the wall. And well, I don't know who you are, Jaeger and Meister, but I won't have any kind of talk like we're not racists around here. We're not bigots. So please don't use that kind of language in my channel, or you can get the fuck out of here.
I agree. But no, yeah, that guy today, he was saying the F word that's, you know, relates to gay people. And so I won't allow that kind of language on my channel. Like, I don't know. I don't like that word at all. I'm pretty against it. I mean, I'll say just about every other curse word, but not that, as well as any other racist like slang.
Right. I don't need to. I think there's way better reasons to dislike people than the color of their skin or their sex or anything like that. Ignorance is my pet peeve. I don't like ignorance, and I think that's ignorant at this day and age for people to even talk like that. I mean, I don't. If you think you're being edgy or cool, it's not cool or edgy. You're just an asshole. You know what I mean? Um, oh, come on, GE. Now you got to do it. Today I learned just for these guys.
Today I learned.
Thank you. Um, okay. Do you have any hobbies besides YouTube? I mean, obviously you're super busy with YouTube, but um, what is do you have any other hobbies that you're interested? I noticed you like to paint like I do. Is that just something you do for your own fun? I don't think I'm the greatest at it, but I think my 200 sub special, I am going to show my artwork on a stream.
Oh, that's cool. Well, yeah, I do like to paint, although we haven't painted in a few months. We really need to do that again. But what I really like video games, and I like learning new things. I've gotten a few, like, I guess, like, sort of those online classes that you can get from, like, Udemy, I believe it is. Like, I got one for, like, the Unreal Engine, and I got one for Blender, where I can learn how to animate in Blender. And so, I mean, I love learning new things in video games. I mean, I've got a pretty extensive collection that I have not played through. Uh, but yeah, no, I love video games. I can't wait for E3 this weekend. That is the biggest thing. Like, Sunday is Bethesda's showcase, and I can't wait to find out that Fallout 76 is coming out on June 6th or July 6th.
Wary, if you're a friend of Strikes, you're a friend of mine. Strike's a good dude. I wish I could stay up late enough to be a panel member on movie night, but I always fall asleep because of God, that takes so long. They woke me up because I was snoring before on a stream. It was like 3:30 in the morning. So yeah, but if you're a friend of size, you're a friend of mine. Wary, you have good company. So that's awesome. Um, how much more do you and Casey have of the Bible study to go? How much have you got done?
Well, I mean, we have like weeks of the laws still to go through. And I mean, I think that's just part of the first few books of the Bible. So, I mean, we have like a lot of stuff to still cover, because I mean, we're not even close to being out of the Old Testament.
Are you just going just from cover to cover, starting in one book and go working your way through them?
Well, yeah. We have this book called the Daily Bible, and what it does is it already breaks down like the Bible into 365 lessons that you can go through every day.
Mhm.
And so pretty much just every week at some point, usually Monday nights, we sit down and we record us just sort of going through a lesson. And we talk about the problems that we have with it, or how ridiculous it is, or like, we'll bring up certain theological aspects of why it's like this and whatnot. And so it's been a very interesting series so far.
Yeah, I think it's hilarious. I think I think it's cute how you and Casey are like, you play off of each other, and I think that's awesome. I think you're an awesome team. I really do. I think you're an awesome team.
Well, yeah, I
So,
mean, I have to have some kind of reason come in here and teach me what the Bible actually says, because I just don't know at all what it says, or at least for the podcast reasons. That's what I'm saying.
right.
Because I'm not really an idiot about the Bible. Like, I understand the Bible, and I've researched the Bible a lot. I mean, you ask anybody, and like, I'm a pretty good Bible go-to guy for any kind of theological thing or history.
I don't know what the actual number is, but I've heard that like actual Christians, the number is as low as like 10% that have actually read the Bible, the whole Bible. Like it's
Oh
literally
yeah.
that small of a number. Like they only know what their pastor tells them,
Oh,
pretty much.
definitely. Well, I mean, it's because they've grown up in a society where you don't read the Bible. You go to church and you have a preacher teach you what the Bible says,
Right.
and you don't actually investigate it yourself. And you'll have Bible study classes and everything like that, but those are more or less geared towards teaching you the theology of
Mm-hmm.
Christianity, and not what the Bible says.
Yeah, I think Catholicism still frowns on people reading the Bible themselves, don't they?
Well, I mean, I know I didn't read the Bible when I was a Catholic.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, I
I'm
went.
pretty sure they frown
Casey's
on.
like, I did, but I went to Catholic school. I went to Catholic school too, but I still didn't read the
Oh,
Bible.
you and Casey both went to Catholic school. One of my best friends went to Catholic school, and he is probably as big an atheist as we are now. So I think that it tends to make you that way. The only thing I even came close to with Catholicism was my parents sent me to catechism class for like 1 month. It was once a week. So I think that was pretty much just to get rid of me. And like I was 13, and that's when I like first heard the Bible stories. And at 13, I thought, this is shit, you know? Like there's no way that Noah fucking got all these. I mean, where did all the poop go? How did he feed them? How did they repopulate the planet? I mean, at 13, I even had these questions like, this makes no sense, you know? I mean, it
Yeah,
just, and Jonah being swallowed by the whale. I mean, parting the Red Sea. I mean, these are like, how come it? I mean, why did all miracles stop once the age of reason happened? That should be their first guess. You know, their first clue. Like
yeah.
what Bill Ingvell says. Here's your sign.
Well,
um,
yeah, yeah. You see, that's where I was at a pretty big disadvantage because I grew up in a Catholic private school, and so at Catholic private school, I mean, we had Bible class, not Bible classes, but like Bible story classes, and we had to go to mass every Friday and every Sunday, and we were just filled with Bible shit the entire week, and Jesus shit. And so, like, for me, I never questioned like Noah's ark. I never questioned Jonah and the whale. I never questioned Jesus, anything that he did. I just never questioned it because I had people that I trusted to tell
right.
me like true information. And
Right.
they were like, well, Jesus was a person and he did these things. He spit in the eyes of a man and then rubbed dirt in it and cured his blindness.
Right.
So,
I,
kid.
I seen a meme the other day, like when people say, "What would Jesus do?" I liked that. He would go and flip over tables and chase you around with a whip. I was like, yes, that's awesome. Um, so what did you have? What was it? One religious class a day in school, in Catholic school?
Well, yeah. There would be just a class that's religion, and you would have to study, Jesus basically. And I mean, even as a kid, I was able to pick up on like the more humanistic side of like Jesus. At least the Jesus that they teach you like is
Right.
humanistic and everything like that. Like I was able to pick up on that. And the other stuff like, oh, Noah put a whole bunch of animals on a boat. I was like, oh, okay, sure. But I mean, still like that was like first grade. Even before that, it was kindergarten. So I had no reason to think otherwise. Like I wish that I had thought about questioning that when I was a kid, but I just simply didn't because I trusted people.
Right.
Uh,
You have no reason to think that adults would lie to you. That I mean, that's the shitty thing about kids being indoctrinated. You know.
yeah,
I mean, that's like, someone asked me once, like, they're like, like, how do you know God's not real? And I'm like, well, how do you know the fucking tooth fairy's not real? Well, I know, you know. I'm like, well, I mean, like, there's as much proof for the tooth fairy as there is for God. So, get over it. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I think it's just people are afraid. I mean, like, I don't know if you see my tweet the other day, but like, if I was to go up to a girl and be like, I love you, and if you don't love me back, I'm going to torture you for eternity, I would be a psychopath, right? But
Yeah.
it's okay for God to say that. So I mean, like, what's that's just, it's bizarre that people think, oh, God loves us. Like, God loved you, He wouldn't torture you for eternity just for
Well,
doubting His existence
yeah,
or
yeah. I mean,
eating
God loves you
pork
as much
or
as his
you
dick.
know, yeah, yeah. God loves to be, either, if God is real, He's the biggest fucking narcissist on the earth, or in the universe, I should say. It would be a better way to put it.
Yeah,
Um,
and I would say that, a lot of Christians like to say like, oh well, you'll be on your knees when you die and go to and stand judgment against God.
no, I
And
won't.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's one thing that they don't understand is that we know what you think God is, and we still wouldn't bend down and worship Him. We would ask to be sent to hell because
Right.
honestly, hell is going to be better than whatever kind of dick sucking thing that we got to do for God.
Welcome, Stardust user, to my channel. I welcome you. I like all new people. Um, now, um, I was going to ask you. You and KC are both very, very generous people, and I mean, you're not you're not a highfalutin, like, oh, I got 28,000 subs, I'm not going to talk to you. You have 100. Have you guys always been that generous and willing to help? I mean, I assume you both do charity work as well, right?
But what do you mean bumped my charity work?
No, no, I'm saying
Oh,
you
oh,
both do charity work in real
oh
life.
yeah. Oh,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
have you
definitely.
guys have you guys always been that generous with your time and with helping people?
Well, yeah. I mean, there wasn't a lot of call for that, like in the beginning, because there really wasn't, at least up until like I think maybe like a year ago or so, there wasn't a very big community that I was a part of. But I tried to be open and available to people. I
Right.
try to help people out when I can. Um, and I usually try to go off of like I guess how professional somebody is, or like whether or not they seem to have like the passion to do it. And so it's not like that they've got to make content every single day or something like that, but
Right.
like just for anybody that's wanting to like talk to me like on their channel or anything like that, I've always been very open to people. And unless it's like that guy Eric today, I would not go on his channel.
um yeah, I was gonna say, I've never, I mean, like, the community we have, we're a small part of the atheist community, but I think we're a very special group. I mean, like, the love and support we show each other, it's not about competition, it's not about anything besides getting to know each other, and talking about ideas, and I love that. I think that's an awesome thing, that, like, people like you and like Godless Cranium, Shannon Q, Paula Gia will help little guys like us. I mean, you'll come on and, like, talk to us. If we have problems, I mean, do you need to learn to use an editing program? I think it's wonderful that you guys take time out of your lives to help the smaller guys. And like you were saying, um, you make that decision based upon how bad do you really, or how serious are the people really about their channel, right? Kind of thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I kind of framed that wrong because I don't expect somebody to be gung ho, all that serious about their channel or anything like that. But I guess what I really meant was just like they're not, they're not some kind of off the wall kind of person that is I guess ridiculous. like
Right.
like I try to be. I'm not all that selective, but like if you message me and you start sounding like you're perched outside my house with binoculars in a tree, I'm probably not going to come on your channel or have you on my channel or anything.
Well, for instance, like when I asked you today, hey, do you mind if I post in your comment section? You know, we're having our stream together, because I didn't think you would mind if I did it, because me and you know each other pretty well now. I mean, we've talked to each other a few times. I've been watching your videos. You know, we comment back and forth. But that one guy, like, you're like, he was spamming your every video of yours, and you're like, hey, dude, that's not a very good way to get to know someone, and that kind of makes me not want to do something with you, because that was kind of, he was doing that to my shit too, and I don't think he meant it to be mean or like intrusive. But I mean, like, he could have went about it a lot differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, he did ask me beforehand to like put his Discord join link like in a video and promote him. And I remember I did it for one video, I think a little while after he asked, but I never did a direct shout out in a video for people to go and join his Discord server. And so I think that he just took it upon himself to just put it in every single one. But it's kind of like, I get that I get busy and I forget to do things,
right.
And it's never intentional for me to forget to do something for somebody.
Right. I know that's gotta be true. You seem like a stand-up guy. I mean, I don't think you would. I mean, you seem pretty straightforward too. If you're a weirdo, you'd be like, look, man, I don't really have time to mess with you. And, you know, but if, you know, I mean, I've never asked anybody to shout me out in a video. I don't think that's right. You know, I mean, if they wanted to, that would be great, but I'm not gonna ask, you know, them to. I mean, if they feel I deserve it, that's cool. But I mean, I'm not gonna ask. That just seems, I don't know, it just seems tacky to me almost. You know, hey man, will you shout me out? You know, I mean, it just seems tacky almost.
Well, and I mean, it kind of falls along the lines of like, if you really want people to develop those kind of I guess affinity for you, badgering them is not the way to go about it.
Right.
Like actually developing that kind of relationship is,
start a rapport with them, you know, like just ask them a question and start out slowly. Like, I mean, I wasn't like, hey, John, you fucking bastard, you're gonna come on my channel, you know. I was like, hey, I mean, would you be interested in coming on for an interview? And you're like, yeah, sure, no problem. You know, I didn't rush you or bother you, you know. I let you do it on your own time, and I've never had a problem with you, you know. And to be honest, I haven't had a problem with, I don't think a single, even a bigger atheist, no one has said no to me. Like, I think our community is pretty awesome. Like, there's some atheists I would not want on my channel, like Cult of Dusty. He can take a big old flying leap, and like, atheism is unstoppable.
Yeah,
he can say he's not racist all day long, but he sure sounds racist. Yeah, it's me.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember, I think it was like 2 years ago or maybe a little bit more, I had a really big spat with him. And even to this day, if he comes across me, he's just like, oh, he's fat. And it's just like, that's the only thing he can think of. And it's really hilarious to me when people are just like, oh, he's fat, because I'm like, fuck, honey, did you know I'm fat? Right. Why didn't you tell me?
I when people call me fat too, I'm like, no way, I've been this way my whole life. Like, I never noticed, you bastards, you know? That'd be like me being like, haha, John, you diabetic, you know? I mean, it's not haha, you shouldn't eat all that sugar, should you? You know, I mean, it's just, it's childish. It's childish as hell. Exactly.
One thing,
hell science.
one thing in the comments, Cat Brony said that he was happy when I said that I would do an interview with him, because he was expecting me to say no because I was so popular and smart, and he's not the smartest guy. But I mean, like I said, like you know, Cap does really great videos here on
Yeah,
YouTube, and he deserves more subscribers. And
yeah,
he approached me more in a friendly manner, asking me, and not so much badgering, like it's not like he went onto every single video and was like,
right, exactly.
do an interview with me, do an interview with me. And I think that as long as anybody is in the community to build a community and is there for the community, I mean, you don't have to be big or anything. See, that's what I don't like about some of the more, I guess, the older YouTubers, is that you've either got to pay them to get on their channel because they're so huge, or like they feel like it's punching down or something like that, and so they won't have anybody that's below a certain amount of subscribers for them. And I mean, I understand that from a certain business perspective, I guess, but at the same time, I don't know. I feel like I was a small creator at one time. I didn't have a lot of subscribers at one time. I was a nobody when I started.
Right.
Like when I started my page, I had 0 likes on my Facebook page. I didn't even have a YouTube channel. So I mean, I've built what I have on my own merit from
Right.
nothing.
Yeah, I've
And
never asked favors from anybody besides, like, would you mind if I interviewed you? And I think, I mean, like, I think I approached you in the right way. Obviously, this is the second time you've been on my channel. I mean, I never I never stalked you or anything. I mean, so that's the right way to go about it, right? I mean, just
well,
ask,
yeah. And well, I
make
mean,
friends.
yeah, and I mean, it's more the fact that you're in the community and you're being a part of the community. And I really want to encourage that. And I
Right.
love seeing new creators come up and provide their own voice. And that's one of the big things about our channel, is the fact that we want people to stand up and use their voice. So it wouldn't make sense for me to say that, but then not actively help people use their voice or actively want to promote people that use their voice. I mean, that's what I'm really here for, and that's what I want to do.
Well, you were a really big inspiration to me because you seem to be a blue collar guy just like me. I mean, you're a regular guy. You don't try to be something you're not. You don't try to be. I mean, you are who you are. No matter what. No matter. I've never seen you act differently. No matter what stream you're on, no matter what video you're making, you're always who you are, and I appreciate that. I don't like chameleons. I don't like people that change with the crowd they're hanging out with. I don't like that at all.
Well, yeah, and I mean that's another thing that I always try to do is I try to just be myself, because I don't want people to think that you have to act a certain way or anything like that. Like normally I accentuate like some of my personality traits, because it's not like I walk around here all the time talking about sucking dick. I mean, I just
Right.
don't do that. But
Right. I mean, it's entertainment, but I mean, I get it. You do it for entertainment. I mean, but that's different, I mean, but that's still, I mean, I'm sure you talk to your friends like that as well,
oh yeah, definitely. Like I don't know if you saw the Creation Museum video that I posted,
Yeah.
but
That
yeah,
was awesome. That was
I
great.
yeah, well, I mean, in that instance, I mean, that's been the most transparent that I've ever been, because I wasn't doing anything for the camera. Like that was just how I acted at the museum. I mean, like I would go through the museum and be like, "Oh, science."
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And
Artemis brain sample?
yes.
Okay, well, Artie lives in Indiana, and me and him and a couple other people, Wild Tanuki, we were thinking about, since we're all so close to each other, taking a road trip to Kentucky and hitting the arc, since it's not really that far away from Illinois. I'm hoping I could, if Godless I would have missed Snarky don't mind, I would love to come to the wedding. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And you're officiating, right?
Yes, I will be
Yeah,
officiating Mrs.
that
Snarky
would be
and
awesome.
Island's wedding.
I would love to come. I mean, because Iowa's not too far from me, so
yeah,
that'd be a good chance for us all to get together. Some of us atheists.
Yeah. And KC is going to be the maid of honor.
Oh, cool. And I promise you have a designated driver. I haven't drank in years. So you guys can get as drunk as you want. And you have a designated driver. So
Oh yeah, Casey can't drink. She got all of that out of her system in college.
oh, okay. Well, we got 2 designated drivers then.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, see, we're planning on going to the Ark encounter in July.
yeah.
So I don't know when you had planned on doing that, but I'd love to go and do it with you.
Yeah, that would be fun. And July, I mean, yeah, that gives us a little bit of time. What part of July? Do you know?
Oh yeah, hopefully Holy Kool-Aid and maybe Drew will be there.
Oh, that would be awesome. I would love to meet Tom. I would love to meet Tom. That'd be so cool.
And Telltale.
Oh, I'm Telltale's another one I got. He agreed to do an interview. He said just shoot him some dates and he'll get back to me. He seems like a really down to earth guy. The only problem I have with Telltale is I think he got the 12-step thing wrong. But we'll talk about that at a later time, me and him personally. You know, I mean, I think he got it just a little bit wrong. I mean, I think yes, there is a lot of the God shit in it, but I don't believe it's a cult. And it does help people if you can get past the God thing. I think it's more of a support group.
Well, and I know that there's actually a pamphlet or something that you can send off for that provides you like a secular kind of handbook as you're going through the 12-step program.
They do have AA Agnostica. I could actually pull up the secular 12 steps if you ever wanted to look at it. It's I mean, and it's really logical stuff, you know. I mean, like when you're a drug addict, you're a liar, you're a cheater, you steal. I mean, it's pretty much just changing the way you think and the way you act in life. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what it's all about, you know. I mean, but other than that, I love Telltale. That video just was a little bit too close to home for me. I'm like, I'm not sure I agree with your take on that, but everything else, I totally agree with them. But I mean, we're not going to agree on everything. I mean, that's just the way life is, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm fairly certain that he'll be open to hearing your criticism because I mean, Telltale's very open to being corrected or having new information.
Right. He seems like a really like I've never met anybody, like I said. The one person I asked that was kind of a dick about it was Reese, Nightmare Fuel. I asked him if he would ever be, if he'd ever want, and he's like, "Oh, I don't fucking know you, dude." I'm like, "Well, I know, but that's the whole point of me interviewing you is to get to know you, you know." I mean, I'm not saying he's a dick. I'm just saying he wasn't very kind about the way he answered me, is what I'm saying. I mean, I still like some of his videos, but I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know, like, I got pills at the pharmacy that I need to go get, but I got my bike.
They want you to be the wedding singer also.
Oh.
The chat.
Yeah. Apparently, I need to be the wedding singer, and they want me to sing right round, or pour some sugar on me in the name of love. Pour your sugar on me.
The next line, I'm feeding you the lyrics.
Oh, okay.
I'm feeding lyrics because you don't know any.
No, I don't know any. Oh man. But let's see. Let's go over the chat a little bit. No, I think the Ding Dong song by Gunther is more GE. I'll have to look it up. I don't know.
I got a phone call coming in, so if you would talk to chat for just a minute, GE, that'd be awesome if you could do that for me, okay?
Okay.
And entertain chat it'll just be a minute.
Pour some ramen. Pour, huh?
Secular is going Def Leppard in September. I'm jealous.
Casey's jealous. They're secular. Godless Iron, hey, Godless Engineer is a diabetic. He has to sing "Pour Some Splenda on Me." Pour some Splenda on me, so it doesn't raise my sugar. Pour your splendor on me. In the name of love. Let's see the thong song. Thong, 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 thong. Let me see that thong. What?
AFA said he's the dancing atheist.
The dancing atheist. I heard the thong song on Spotify. I only know the word thong.
That girl's so scandalous. You know another group can't handle this. Shaking that thing like who's
She's over there singing the censored version because she went,
I'm not allowed to say the N-word.
Oh, she's that ain't fair.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. It was about I do landscaping, and it was about a job. So I don't.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna pass up no money. So
Yeah.
So what do you think? I mean, but I know I asked this a little bit before, but what do you think makes our community different than other communities? Do you think it's just the involvement and the support we show each other?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that our community has a lot of support and friendship between, everybody that's in it. I think that, we're all looking to, be a community together, which means that, infighting, it's not that infighting won't be tolerated, but we try to resolve conflict without resorting to tantrums and like people blocking other people and like factions forming and all this other stuff. I think that we've got a really great community that's forming where we can all, call upon each other if we need help or if, we just want to hang out. And it's more about, the friendship aspect of it and just in general being friends, because like I had somebody tell me one time that like online friends aren't real friends, so don't count those.
I don't believe that. I'd say I have more online friends than in real life friends. I mean, I live in a small town, first of all, so it's hard to find intellectual stimulation. I don't know how you feel about that, but I mean, do you sort of the same?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I think that online friends can be just as real as, friends that you have, down the street.
Right.
Because, I mean, while we can't meet up and go to a movie or something like that, we still communicate with each other and we have that kind of human interaction.
Right. And it's daily too, I mean, we talk to each. I mean, we almost all talk to each other daily,
Yeah. And I mean, we've started, we just started, visiting, other places and doing things with our online friends. And, I feel like us going to like Dallas and meeting up with a whole bunch of people, it really brought, I guess, another dimension to it because, we've always had like online friends that we've seen through pictures or anything like that. But I guess to actually like physically meet, these other people, I mean, it doesn't make our relationship any different, but it has that face-to-face aspect to it. But I mean, that's all that it really added. Like I'm just as much as of a friend to Drew now, or genetically modified skeptic now, as I was before I met him. And I mean, it was awesome to meet him, but it's a lot like meeting like somebody, like a celebrity or something like that. Like you can't believe that you're seeing them and that you're hanging out with them or whatnot. But I mean, that doesn't diminish like whatever connection you had to them beforehand.
Right. I mean, I remember when I first started my channel and the first few streams I was on, I was terrified, like I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. I think the first stream I was ever on was with the Beard Barian, Chagrin and Barrett, and Failure Accomplished. I think that was my first stream. This was way before all that blood sport bullshit. I'm not a big fan of that blood sport shit. I think all they're doing is picking on people, and I'm not a big fan of bullies. So I don't go for that, So, but that's just my personal opinion, I mean, if anybody likes that kind of stuff, to each their own. You know,
Yeah.
it is what it is. So what kind of videos have you been watching lately? I mean, anything interesting?
Well, I've really been kind of immersed in the whole Vault 76 or Fallout 76 stuff. So, I mean, anytime there's like some interesting video about either Fallout like lore or anything like that, I've really been quick to click on those and watch. But I mean, like, I remember, I think earlier this morning I watched a Vice Rhino video. I watched
I enjoy Vice Rhino a lot.
Genetically Modified Skeptic. I usually watch his videos when he puts them out. I pretty much go through my sub feed and I watch, whatever's in my sub feed. And, at work, it's a little bit harder for me to like watch anything. Because for one thing, the cell signal isn't all that great, but I mean, I'm also at work, so I have like work to do. But I mean, I do like to have things playing like in the background as I work, because that's just one of the things that I can do. I can listen to a video and glance over at it occasionally or whatnot, and I can still get the same experience while I work. And there's a lot of programmers out there that work like that. Like the guy that developed Unix, I mean, he developed Unix while he was watching like sci-fi movie not reruns, but like a marathon. And so I mean, it's a pretty common thing. Like I know there are some people like that I worked with that were like, oh, that's interesting that you can do that. And I'm like, oh yeah.
Okay, I got a couple nerd questions for you. DC or Marvel?
Ooh, that's always been a hard one. Casey says that they can both go fuck each other, but I am not that way. Because I like both, and I grew up with Marvel more so than DC. Right. But I would have to say that I would probably pick DC over Marvel because of Batman and that entire universe.
Batman's the best superhero there is, hands down.
Well, you see, because I grew up watching like the Batman cartoon show, the Spider-Man cartoon, the X-Men cartoon. I would collect, like the cards, the Marvel cards. I was collecting those when I was younger. So, I mean, like I grew up with a pretty good mix of both DC and Marvel, but I would probably have to go with DC primarily because of Batman. And of course, Spider-Man is my favorite character in the Marvel universe.
Okay, now I asked DC Marvel, Star Trek or Star Wars?
I would probably lean the Star Wars route because I mean I've seen all the Star Wars movies and everything, and I used to be a lot bigger into Star Wars. But I mean I like Star Trek too. It's just that if I had to tier them, I would probably put Star Wars first. But I mean I think that has more to do with my inexperience with the Star Trek universe.
See,
Casey was flipping me off.
I'm a Trekkie too over Star Wars, but I do like them both. But I get when people try to compare Star Wars and Star Trek. First of all, Star Wars is a fantasy, and Star Trek's more sci-fi. So they're not exactly the same. Now, don't you have? Do you have another stream you're supposed to be on tonight? What time?
Well, yeah. Well, yeah, actually, I got my streaming ability back.
All right. Woo.
Yeah, so I'm able to stream tonight, and I've already got it set up on my channel. So, I mean, people can go there, and the thing's already set up. So, it's just Godless Engineering live, I believe it is. I can get a link here in a second. Cool. But yeah, I'm going to be going over another D Marble video, who's a flat earther.
That'll be fun.
Yeah,
that'll be fun to watch. That'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, I would really like to get like D Marble or somebody like that on my channel
Uh-huh.
to talk with, because like, you know, the guy that I talked with and I posted about today, I mean, obviously he didn't really have anything worthwhile about it, but you know, at the same time, not all, you know, flat earthers are like that, and
Right.
I want to be seen as the person that, you know, will have a conversation with people who are like on the complete opposite side of things.
I do
And
know a flat earther that's really down to earth. He's a very intelligent guy and he's very civil. If you'd like, I can introduce you to him. I think you might like him on your channel. I think he would be someone worth talking to. He's very eloquent. He's very civil. He's a real nice guy. His name is Issa. He's a really nice guy.
okay, no, yeah, that would be awesome.
If you'd like to meet him, I can like be the go between for you if you'd like. So what
Oh,
time is your stream starting then?
tonight at 8:30 p.m. Central.
Okay.
So do the time math however you
Yeah,
need
well,
to.
I live in Central too. The only time zone.
Yes, it is.
We're in the same time zone. I only live 800 miles north of you. That's all. That's the only difference.
Yeah.
About I'd say, well, maybe 600 miles. I'd say, oh no, probably more like 800 miles. I think last time I drove to Alabama, it was probably about a 12-hour drive, so that'd be about 800 miles, wouldn't it, give or take?
Well, yeah. So where do you live? You
I
live
live
in.
in central. Yeah, have you ever heard of the Quad Cities? You know, it's right on the Mississippi River. Quad Cities,
Okay.
Davenport, Iowa. Quad Cities, Rock Island. I'm sure Godless
Okay.
Island's heard of it. I live 45 minutes east of there. Have you ever heard of Peoria, Illinois, where Kent Hovind's from?
No.
I live 45 minutes north of there. Richard
Okay.
Pryor and Kent Hovind are from the same hometown. I get a kick out of that. I think it's kind of funny. I love that. Does anybody in the chat have any questions you'd like to ask, GE?
Yeah, I think somebody was wanting to ask me what my favorite Fallout is.
Oh, okay. And besides that, what's your favorite video game?
Well, that one's a little bit harder to really talk about, I guess, or to discern. But my favorite Fallout so far, of course, has been Fallout 4. I mean, I put it down a little while ago, and I've been playing other things, but you know, Fallout 4 seems to be a really good game. I mean, I like Fallout 3 and New Vegas, but I mean, it's just the most up to date one, I guess. I can't wait for Fallout 76. I think that could quite possibly be the new favorite, depending on how they implement it. We don't know anything about it yet, so.
What do you play on? Are you a console or a PC gamer?
I play both. I have a Xbox One, and
what's your gamer tag? Or tell me that later. I wouldn't mind getting your gamer tag.
I don't mind. My gamer tag's Godless Engineer.
Oh, okay. Mine's Doctor Who 99 with spaces, and it's all caps. So you'll know it's me. I'm addicted to. Have you ever played Neverwinter?
No.
I have a friend who has.
What is it?
Neverwinter. It's a Dungeons and Dragons type game.
Oh no, I haven't played that one. It sounds interesting though.
It's open world. It's a free game, so it's really fun. It's a really fun game. I just did you download Assassin's Creed the one where you're in Victorian England? That was the free one last month.
Oh, is that's Syndicate, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I already had that on the PC, and I had started playing that before Origins came out, and then when Origins came out, I started playing Origins. So I haven't been back through Syndicate and played that, but I plan on it.
Yeah, Syndicate's probably my favorite of all the Assassin's Creed games. And I play I'm a big backgammon fan. I love backgammon. It's probably that and poker are probably my two favorite, and Scrabble because I'm a grammar Nazi. But besides that, There were probably what I play online is probably I play Neverwinter a lot. I play Star Trek Online.
Do
I
you play
play.
Words with Friends?
Oh, I love Words with Friends, man. Love it. Love Words with Friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun game.
Somebody asked if I like Mario 1 or 3 on the NES, and I'd have to say that 3 is my favorite,
Mine
especially
too.
considering I've got, if you guys can see, I've got, this is Paper Mario, but I mean, I've got the 1-up tattoo right there, and then I've got a death shroom right there. So I'm all tatted up with Nintendo shit.
That's awesome though. I'm all tatted up too, but it's not Nintendo shit. That is cool as hell though. I got a really good deal on buy sell trade. The other a guy had a Super Nintendo and 10 Super Nintendo games, but it wasn't the game. The games were like Super Mario All Stars. So I got Mario's 1, 2, and 3. Super Mario World, Zelda. Um, I mean, I Donkey Kong, Sim City. So I'm talking like classic games. I mean, like the games alone were worth $40. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I got. I mean, them are classics. I mean, you can't. Oh, and Punch Out. You can't find games like that anymore. Do you remember Karnov? I loved that game for regular Nintendo. You
I
remember that at
never
all?
played that one.
You were like a bald Middle Eastern guy, and you had to run around and fucking like kill dragons. Either that or Super Ghosts or the Ghost was it got ghouls and goblins or ghosts and goblins. You remember what I'm talking about? Where like you wore armor, and as soon as you got hit, you were running around in boxer shorts with a sword. It was an old NES game.
I don't remember that one.
Oh no, you got to play that game. It's one of the funnest. It's one of the funnest NES games I've ever played by far. It's an awesome game. Godless Engineer, do you play Pokemon? And if so, what is your favorite Pokemon?
So I haven't played any of the recent installments of it, but I guess I'm more old school with the Pokemon. Of course, I played Pokemon Go, but I really liked Pokemon Yellow, which that's way in the past. But I did try, like, I think maybe one of the other ones after that, but it's like it's not that I couldn't get into it. It's just that it's one of those things where I'm playing it and then something else catches my eye and then I put it down and I do something else. So
right. I play emulator on the computer, like, because I mean once you mod a system, you know it's voided. The warranty is voided. Like, but I doubt like a Super Nintendo has a warranty anyway. It's fucking 30 years old, you know. So,
yeah.
or what did it came out? What, 89? If I remember right, regular Nintendo 85, and because I was 7. I think I was 7 when I got my first Nintendo. I think it was 85, the year the Bears won the Super Bowl. So that's how I remember. Gotta love Chicago teams. They only win like once a century. I'm not a huge sports fan anyway. I wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't do the sports ball that much at all. Although when I was in middle school, I did start out playing football, but then I quit it for Science Olympiad.
Right. Intellectual has always been my strong suit. Like, I've never been into sports. I've always been kind of a fat kid. I've always been kind of clumsy. You know, I didn't see the point in running unless someone was chasing me. So
that's a good reason to run.
I mean, if there are blue and red lights behind me, I'm off, dude. But unless someone's chasing me, I'm not running. You know. But that's just my, that's the way I am. Growing up in the '90s was a different time, though. I mean, it really was. I mean, I remember one time a cop busted a party, and there's like fucking 45 underage kids there. It was like a back to school party. There was one adult, one person was 21. The cop's like, all right, whose beer is this? And he's like, it's all mine. He's like, you've drank out of 80 cups. He's like, yep. And the cop's like, look, he's like, I'm not writing this many fucking tickets. So you guys go home, and if I see you out again tonight, you will go to jail. And my friends got all paranoid because they had pot on them and they were drunk. And they ran 7 miles through hog farms and fucking cornfields to get back to home. And we were there sitting there waiting for them. We're like, did you guys have a nice trip? And they're like, oh, it was, like, I mean, can you imagine running through a hog fucking farm to get, hogs are not nice animals at all. They're not kind even a little bit. So, what do you have in the works right now? I mean, are you do you have anything specific, or do you just find a video and like be like, I'm going to do that, or do you sometimes start a video and put it on the back burner because you found a better video you want to look at?
Well, right now I think I've got like I want to say 30 or 40 videos that I still need to edit up. So I'm slowly working through my backlog of it. And that's why, like, for instance, I did a response to that woman. I don't know if you saw it on Godless Cranium's channel, but she was the woman who was talking about, I don't know, contacting the other side, and you gotta believe in God in order to be a higher being or something on the other side. I don't know. She was talking about ghosts and shit. But I made a video about her, and then the next day, Godless Cranium released his video, and I'm like, God damn it! It'll be 2 months before. So.
Yeah, I'm working on that. It's an old Steve Anderson video, but there's no such thing as rape in marriage.
Yeah.
I got it all done except for I got to record my audio. So,
okay.
But audio, I got a really good audio program though, so that'll help. But I want to, I don't want to put out. I mean, I know my first few videos are gonna not be the greatest, but I'm gonna keep practicing, and the only way you're gonna get better is to practice. You're right.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's one of the biggest hurdles I find for new creators is that they want to do something perfectly, and so they really kind of push things off and push things off and push things off. And just the thing that you got to realize is that it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. Right. Because you can refine it and you can do better next time.
Right. Well, and I I started out doing like just streaming with whoever would stream. I deleted all them streams. I want my channel to be more professional now, and I think I've gotten to that. I mean, I think my interviews are fairly good.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I like them.
So
I don't always comment, but I will listen.
Right. I mean, I just think that that's kind of my niche, like I enjoy doing interviews, and like I said, I'm going to go a little bit on a different angle on the atheist videos because I'm a history buff. So I'm going to do more about the history of Christianity than I am. I'm going to do response videos too, but I really enjoy Christianity. I got in an argument with someone last night, and I wonder what you think of it. They said that the Crusades had nothing, or weren't about religion, and I say they were. So,
well,
I mean, I know there were other reasons, but the religion was the main reason. Because weren't they offered complete absolution if they went and fought for God?
Well, I mean, I'm sure that there were some actual economic reasons behind it or whatnot, but the fact of the matter is that they, if I remember correctly, I mean, they were going to conquer the Holy Land from the Muslims or the Muslims or whatever. I mean, they were trying to take back the Holy Land for God.
Right. And yeah, and I mean, yeah, it might have been I'm sure finances were involved, but if you think about it, in the 9th to 10th century, who had the most money? The church did. So either way, it's about religion
Well,
in my eyes, even if
and
it
I
was
mean,
about money.
yeah, and I mean the giant cross on the fucking Crusaders uniforms was kind of a really big indicator too. Like it's it's regardless of whatever underlying issues that might have like I actually drove them like I mean I really don't know, but regardless of whatever underlying issues, they were still using religion and this religious belief in order to go and do it. So it may be that they just didn't realize that they were actually going for those reasons and not the God reason. It could have been an unconscious thing, but you also can't sit there and speculate and be like, well, no, it wasn't about religion, it was about these things. It's like, well, I mean, they were pretty religious. I mean they were going to the Holy Land. Holy things are only holy because of religion.
Right. Right. And I was what do you think there's any way for us to stop the turmoil in the Middle East?
Well, I mean, I really don't know. I think that humanity will always be at war over one thing or another.
Yeah, I believe so too. Yeah.
And so I don't think that it necessarily takes religion to be at war, but I think that it's way more probable with religion in the mix. So like, let's say you were able to eradicate Islam from the Middle East. I don't think that that'll necessarily bring peace to the area. I think that they could definitely spring up with different versions or whatnot, and they would just go to war. I mean, they could, become a united front or whatever. And I mean, if they can, fine. But I think that, people are always going to find a reason to fight.
Right. Yeah. I mean, since we became civilized and started collecting possessions, I mean, war has been a part of society. That's just the way it is. I don't know about hunter gatherers because there's no real proof of them being, in any wars. But I'm sure. I mean, humans are humans. They've been the same for thousands of years. I mean, so what makes them any different, right?
Right.
So what is your main goal for your channel? I mean, what would you like to accomplish with your channel?
Well, I mean, with my channel, I just hope to build the community and build a community of like-minded people that like to, watch funny shit on YouTube.
Right. Your videos make me laugh out loud, and I don't laugh out loud. I mean, I'm more of a smirker, but like your videos literally make me laugh out loud. So, congratulations on that one.
I love that. And but like every video I've got a different kind of goal, I guess. Like the response videos is exactly what I just said, so that we could all laugh at videos
Right.
on YouTube. But then like the Bible podcast is about learning what the Bible actually says instead of what we think it says. And then the comments video is all about how to take negative comments and show that the community is really growing and is a very positive thing. And then my Thursday videos is kind of up in the air at the moment, but I do interviews or more response videos or whatever. And then Fridays it's about educating people that the earth isn't flat. I mean, it's not like we should do away with that.
We should not have to do that at all, dude. We just shouldn't have to. And I mean, it's absurd to think that there's still people out there. And, okay, my personal opinion is that people want to believe the earth is flat because they want to be different somehow than the rest of society. It's kind of like becoming a punk when you're a teenager, so you can be a nonconformist by being conformist kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how close I am to the mark there, but that's what I gather from it, is that they just want to be different. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that might be part of it. They want to feel special and everything like that. But I also feel like they're just really gullible, and they'll easily believe things when bad reasoning or bad logic is presented to them. Like they don't think about how like they don't think about the logic and how it's bad.
Right. So who's your least favorite flat earther, do you think?
My least favorite flat earther right now is that Eric guy from today. I guess that general type of flat earther, the flat earther that'll come into the comments like, "Oh, maybe you should read something there, you fat asshole. Quit eating Burger King all the time." Like those kind of flat earthers, I would say, are my least favorite because they don't offer like anything to the conversation. The best thing that you can do with those is just laugh at them and how ridiculous and stupid they are. And I mean, generally that's what I do.
Yeah, I mean, he was just throwing ad hom after ad hom. I don't even think he had an argument, did he?
No, well, I mean, I kept drilling him about like what is weight if gravity isn't a factor. Like, and he couldn't explain it to me. He's like, "Why do you gotta know everything?" It's like, well, I don't think asking about gravity and weight is wanting to know everything, but I mean, in general, we want to know what reality is, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. Now the two normal questions I ask a flat earther are: show me a model where the physics that we know how they work would work in your flat model or in your flat Earth model, which that's never going to happen. And what makes you think that the Earth? I mean, why can't you accept the evidence that's presented to you? I mean, what makes you think the Earth is flat? And they can they can never answer them two questions. They dance around them. I mean, it's not as good as the theist dance, but it's pretty close.
Yeah. I've tried to take a more of a street epistemology kind of direction with the flat earth crowd, because I'm wanting to know like how they come to like discern that like all of science is bunk and that science is lying to them and everything like that. I want to know what method they use to discern truth from lies. And I feel like if more people understand the fact that they can't discern truth from lies with their particular method, and that they're still just shooting in the dark, and they're saying things that they can't actually prove. I think that a lot of people will understand that and be able to come out of that fog.
Okay. Did I ask you what you've been watching lately?
Yeah, like I was saying before, Vice Rhino, anything Fallout 76 related, or and just in general, like people in the community. I won't watch every single video, but generally,
it's hard to do. I mean, there's so many of them, you know. I mean, so it's really hard to keep up sometimes. I mean, like someone like you, I'll watch all your videos. Godless Cranium, I watch all his videos. There's a few other people I make sure I watch your videos all the time, but there's some that I don't. I mean, if I miss a few, I'll just go back and binge watch them. Usually is what I do.
That's what I end up doing too. I mean, there's a lot of times where I'll just go back and I'll watch one video after another. I'll just get like their uploads playlist going, and I'll just listen to it as I work or whatever.
Right. And you do some kind of engineering, right? Computer engineering?
Yeah, I have a bachelor's in computer engineering and a master's in software engineering.
Oh,
so
awesome.
Yeah, I build code and for like my 40-hour a week job. That's what I do.
That's awesome. And, can I ask you what would you say the percentage of women in your field is?
In my field?
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot lower than the ratio, like or like women to men. Women are a lot less, but I mean, like in my area alone, I think there's like I think there's about four or five women to about 10 men. So I guess it's like 1 to 2, maybe, at least in what I've experienced. But I mean, in other situations, it's been, like 1 to 25 or something. So, I mean, obviously in STEM fields, there's going to be a lesser amount of like
right.
women in it, at least in the engineering part. But I mean, I think that it's great that, right now, 2 of my team leads are women, and I work alongside other women. And I think that if more women want to be engineers, they should definitely be engineers.
Right.
Like Casey, she's getting her systems engineering degree.
Oh, awesome! Congratulations, Casey. Is that what you're doing your homework on right now?
Well, no, she's out of school for right now. She starts next week.
Oh, okay. Summer
June 19th.
classes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going back to school too. I'm going to take some history classes because I'm a history buff. I know there's really no money in history, but I want to do it. I think though that with my past, I think drug and alcohol counseling is the way to go for me.
That could be cool.
I think I would be good at it. I mean, there's no way a drug addict's gonna be able to lie to me. That's for sure. I mean, good luck lying to me, dude. I've done every drug under the sun, so good luck. I think that like when I was in like drug and alcohol classes, and we had like a I mean, it's hard to take someone serious if they've never been in your shoes. You know what I mean? Like you learned this all from a book. I lived this. I mean, like
right.
I ate out of trash cans and smoked cigarette butts out of fucking public ashtrays and shot up in bathrooms. It was a horrible lifestyle to live. But I mean, I wouldn't change anything because it made me a better person. It made me realize that you don't have to sweat the small stuff in life. I mean, the stuff people complain about is their first world problems. You haven't suffered until you've fucking been locked up, homeless, or a drug addict.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying no one suffered, but I mean, most people's problems are first world problems. Let's face it.
Yeah. I agree.
So
I had that conversation with my son recently.
right. Who are some of the? I know you're Ken Ham hater, but who are some of the Christians you hate watch?
I hate watch Pastor Anderson would be one. Matt Powell would be one.
That's my number one. Anderson's my number one hate watcher.
Yeah.
Joshua Fierstein.
Joshua Fierstein. Oh.
Yeah. Greg Locke used to be one, but ever since his whole divorce situation, I can't stomach to see him. I've heard him from all of them.
I seen that video and it was sickening the way he treated his wife.
Yeah.
Sickening. And that's the funny thing I get a kick out of. We're supposed to be the immoral ones, but I would trust any one of you with my life over a fucking Christian any day. Any day. I mean, if we're so immoral, then why are we the ones that want to give our time to charity and want to make the world a better place? I mean, I don't think a single one of us is not a humanist,
Oh no, I mean definitely not. I mean, some of the most giving people that I've met have been atheists. Right. None of them have been really all that stingy. Well, like the ones that I've met and I'm friends with is what I meant.
Right. There's a few atheists out there that are dickheads, but I mean, you'll have that in every group. I mean,
Well, yeah. And I mean, it's more like that is more of a people trait rather than an atheist trait.
Right, and our community is growing. I mean, bigger and bigger every day. And the thing is, we don't really vet them, so to speak. But I mean, we get to know them, and if they're cool people, they're pretty much welcomed into the fold.
Oh,
You know?
definitely they are.
You know, like that guy that came in here earlier and was used the N word. I mean, I don't have any room for that in my chat. You know, I mean, I don't even know why he even said it. No one was talking like that. So,
Well, people are, yeah, trolls are going to troll. I mean, that's just a fact of the internet. So,
yeah, I know. I don't let it get to me. I think you have a real YouTube channel when you start getting hate comments. That's when you know you're a YouTuber.
yeah. Well, I mean, hate comments are the best, aren't they?
Yeah, they're hilarious. I love your new series, the Today I Learned series. It's great.
Oh yeah.
And, I've guessed right a few times, so I got a few million God points, which are worth nothing. But like I said, you have mole points, and you can redeem them in my moleocracy. I happen to be the only one here, but still. Um, but yeah, I would like to. I'll DM you later on in the week. And I think I want the Historicity of Jesus book. That's the real thick one, right?
Wait, say that again.
The Richard Carrier's book, Rick.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
on the historicity of Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll figure out a way to send you the money and send you enough to mail it back too. So.
Oh no, you don't have to worry about it, man. We're gonna get it for you.
Oh, okay. I'd appreciate that. That'd be awesome. You know, it'd be cool is if we all wore heathen shirts to the Godless Island's wedding. Wouldn't that be cool? Or something along the lines.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I wouldn't go well with my Father McFeely costume, but it'd be cool.
Yeah, yeah. That's definitely that's going to be my attire. I got to order one before, so. And I know you're a chubby guy like me, so I'm sure your shirts, you picked out bigger shirts. Like, I swear the world is a race or prejudice against fat people. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you go to a store and I'm like, how the fuck am I supposed to buy these clothes? I'm like, there's nothing for me here, you know?
Well, yeah, the shirts that do come in like I believe it's 4 or 5X is the max. So
Right.
I mean, it should fit.
Right, and I want to get a beanie too. The beanie's awesome. So, but
Okay, yeah, I mean, you just let me know when you want to get it. I'll get it to you.
Okay, cool, man. Yep, I got it. I'll just I don't like having credit cards. I'll just go buy one of the ones you can just add money to, and where do you go? PayPal?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, they take a percentage, though. Do you have another way to order it so you get the whole thing?
What do you mean the whole thing? Like the shirts are done on Teespring, and like I just have the beanies and stuff here.
Oh,
on
okay.
Me, so
I mean, I would like to see the money go to you and not to. And they both cost the same, right? $20 for the shirt and $20 for the beanie.
I think the shirt's about $20.
Yeah.
I actually haven't checked it in a while.
Okay, all right. I mean, I'm sure the larger sizes are probably a little bit more, but that's okay, you know.
Yeah.
Well, does anybody have any questions for GE? He's got a stream he's got to do pretty soon, and GI just started a stream, and I don't want to. I mean, we've been going quite a while, so I don't want to step on his toes. I mean, we all watch him too. So, does anybody have any questions for GE before we shut down? I'm not sure what the lag is, but it's what, a few seconds.
Yeah, it should be.
And if I just slide in and
Hi, Casey. What is your favorite programming language?
I usually like C#. That's been what I've been programming in probably the longest.
no, I know. It's just funny they a lot more words on there.
And I got a question for you. What's your favorite genre of music? What did you grow up listening to?
I would let's see. I grew up listening to a variety of them, but I would say that if I had a favorite genre, it would be kind of the more of the modern rock, I guess. Here lately, though, I've been listening to a lot of like Post Malone, stuff like that.
I mean, people are gonna laugh at me about this. No one I've met. So I mean, there's only a few people I've met, but I really, really dig Volbeat. Like, I can put their album in and listen to it all the way through. I love the way they mix like hard rock with metal, with country, with punk. They're like a cross between the Misfits and Slayer and you know, like Johnny Cash all had a baby. You know that I love it. You know, it's pretty fucking awesome. Okay, GE, rogue, warrior, or mage?
I'm not sure what that's from.
Like, I guess D&D type thing.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I haven't played those particular classes. I would probably go with warrior. I think in general I have a very warrior kind of attitude.
Right. That's what I usually play too. As a warrior. Mages are cool, but they're so weak at the beginning, and they usually die before you get up high enough in level to where they're. I mean, but once they level up, they are bad motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Once they level up, they are some bad mugs. Hi, Charis. Is that how you pronounce your name?
Cars?
Hey,
Cars.
That's Peter's that's Peter's co-host.
Yeah.
Welcome.
That's what I mean.
Welcome.
I've been.
So do you have anything you'd like to add before we shut down, then, G?
Let's see. I just
Charis.
something that I always push and I always want people to know is that, you know, we all need to stand up and use our voice, you know, against the bad information that's being floated around. And it doesn't matter, you know, what the topic is or whatnot. If you want to use your voice to spread truth and reality, then regardless of how popular you get or anything, you definitely need to stand up and use your voice to correct people, you know, on bad information so that we can, as a society, grow. And I hope nobody gets to the point where they feel like they're too good to, you know, come onto a stream like this or too good to talk to any certain kind of person.
Right.
I hope that people will always be open to conversation.
Right. I look at it this way: if we can't conversate with people about normal things, then how are we supposed to come across and get our ideas heard? Like, I envy Paulogia and his calmness. Like, if you've ever been on a stream with Paulogia, I know you probably have. Like, his presenting voice on his videos and his normal voice are totally different. Like, if you didn't know it was him, you would never know it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You would not. You wouldn't have a clue. I don't think you would not have a clue.
Yeah. Paul's a really good guy, and
yeah, Shannon's awesome
I definitely know what you're talking about.
Isn't the Heathen Hour podcast on tonight at 7? Doesn't it start at 7?
No, I think Heathen Hour is on Saturdays.
Oh, is it Saturdays? I remember, like I said, it rained a couple days and I work outside, so I lost a day. I lost a day somewhere. Well, I want to thank you all for coming. And John, I'd like to thank you for coming on again. And Casey, if you would like to come on again sometime, you know, and re-interview you, I'll ask you some different questions. And I got a few more subs now, so they might not have got to see that interview. It doesn't have to be right away, sometime in the future. I'm booked up pretty solid for the next week or so I hope you can all join that. I've got big and small. I don't differentiate. I want to get to know everybody. That's what it's all about. I mean, we're a part of the community. I want to know everybody in the community, that kind of thing. But I'd like to thank you again, John, for not only coming on and giving me your time, but for all the things you do for the atheist community. You and Casey are tireless, and like I said, I mean, it's a joke when I say it, but you are definitely the godless father of the skeptic mafia. You know.
Well, I appreciate being on the stream today. I really hope that I could drive some people to subscribe, because you do need more subscribers. And like I said, I hope everybody stands up, uses their voice. And I guess we'll see you heathens later.
Awesome. All right. Well, you all have a good night. I'm sure we'll see each other again. There's some more streams on tonight, so it won't be too much longer until we all see each other again. And remember, I love you all whether you like it or not. Good night.